Tonight, the region swelters through another warm spell, but a change is on the way. And Coffin Bay CFS crews kept busy by a grass fire.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. Authorities are warning residents to remain vigilant, with parts of South Australia soaring above 40 degrees today. Port Pirie's SES say they'll stay on high alert, with thunderstorms predicted.
Sweltering under a hot sun, temperatures nudging 40 degrees across the Spencer Gulf today.
45 around the Woodner area, 46 at Cummins, so really a scorcher today across Eyre Peninsula and right down across the south of the state.
Port Pirie State Emergency Service officers are preparing for a busy time. They say residents shouldn't do anything risky in these conditions.
Staying hydrated, making sure that no one leaves vulnerable people in vehicles, so children, elderly or even pets.
However, there's some relief in sight with rain forecasted for this weekend.
Widespread rainfall totals roughly in the range of 20 to 80 millimetres, including parts of Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula.
But there's no time to relax for SES workers, with predicted gusty winds potentially causing havoc.
Localised flooding, leaky roofs, we'll be doing a lot of that kind of work as the storm or severe weather does push through the state.
But for now, residents are in for a sweaty night.
The majority of the rainfall will actually be occurring later on Friday and overnight into Saturday morning.
The MFS are warning that bushfire season isn't over yet and are urging residents to remain vigilant and clean up their properties.
The thing people can do for themselves is remain prepared, be aware of what's going on around them and make the choices early if they're going to leave or stay and defend.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Firefighters were kept busy yesterday afternoon after a grass fire erupted on the outskirts of Coffin Bay. 13 CFS appliances fought the blaze, which was brought under control in an hour and a half. Nathan Regter has more.
The fire broke out yesterday just after 2 o'clock on the outskirts of Coffin Bay. Residents were on edge as black smoke could be seen billowing into the sky. Authorities rushed to the scene as the fire tore through tinderbox scrubland, destroying hectares of land. Firefighters along with farm units fought the blaze on the ground, while 4 aerial bombers made 18 drops. Within an hour and a half, they had it under control. Fire crews mopped up the scene as they tried to extinguish any hotspots ahead of today's severe weather. Local police were on scene directing traffic and investigating the circumstances behind the fire. So far this fire danger season, 2 bushfires have erupted on Lower Eyre Peninsula. The causes of both have been undetermined. The fire serving as a reminder that we're still in the midst of bushfire season and we're not out of the woods yet, with more warm weather expected over the following days.
A body has been pulled from the water in Port Lincoln this morning near Brennan's Wharf, opposite the town silos. The wharf was put into lockdown as emergency services headed to the area. The State Emergency Service launched its marine rescue vessel to retrieve the body. Police are still investigating the cause, however they're not treating the incident as suspicious. John Perry Secondary School has welcomed Year 7 students as part of a new 2-year pilot program. Staff say despite early concerns, the transition has been well received by the school community.
A step up for these Year 7 students. This school is one of 3 in the state offering a new pilot program.
This is a unique opportunity for us to sort of get ahead of the game in terms of all Year 7s moving to high school by the end of 2022.
It's also a transition for the teachers who have had to adjust to a modified curriculum.
So I've come up with them, so I have a couple of other Year 7 teachers, and we've really enjoyed seeing the kids get to experience things that they've liked, and they've made new friends.
The school also catering for Year 7 students living with a disability, focusing on their needs.
Students with learning disabilities, physical disabilities, all sorts of things, as well as helping kids with emotional and social needs as well. So at John Perry Secondary School, I guess we cater for all.
Despite concerns of younger students mixed in with the Year 12s, staff say they're receiving positive feedback.
Parents have been extremely excited and kids have been excited about coming to our school and taking up the opportunity. So yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive in the community.
Senior students also have been on board assisting with the transition.
Most of the time our Year 12s are actually looking after the young ones and keeping an eye out and making sure that they feel safe and supported.
Other South Australian public schools will be following suit by 2022.
Are totally ready for it. They've enjoyed the experience, they've made new friends, they've enjoyed having new teachers.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, new machines unveiled to keep animals off the Whyalla Airport runway. And Port Augusta's Desert Fringe returning for another year. Welcome back. More wildlife deterrents at the Whyalla Airport might be put in place by Council after last week's emu incident. 2 electronic trailers are currently located on the terminal, keeping wildlife off the runway.
It's the sound that would make anyone want to leave in a hurry. These top-of-the-range animal deterrent trailers now essential to airport operations.
We had some other kangaroo deterrents around the main runway, but they were fairly old and started to fail. So these are very important to try and keep wildlife off the runway.
Upgraded 8 months ago, 2 new trailers are positioned at each end of the runway.
We've actually got the kangaroo deterrent on there as well as the bird one.
Running on a random cycle for 15 seconds at a time, the noises are suited to deter a range of wildlife.
Dogs barking, chainsaws, motorbikes, and also different piercing sounds for the kangaroos.
But it didn't stop this curious emu from entering.
He scared the life out of me when I opened the toilet door. But this particular day he'd let himself in and he was just walking around the terminal like he owned the place.
It's the one of many who've taken a peek inside.
We've had snakes and lizard. We had a snake in the toilet once. We've had families of kangaroos and stuff running the place.
With the possibility of the airport expanding, council say more electronic trailers are the key to stopping wildlife entering the airport. Some locals welcoming the visitors, saying it's brought attention to Whyalla across the globe.
It's been seen in Belfast, in Sweden, Canada.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hill City Council says its plans to revitalise the city's roads won't be stopping in the near future. The General Manager says an underspend on infrastructure in the past will be fixed this year.
New roads for the new decade. After a busy 2019, which saw a number of roadworks projects completed, Council wants to put the foot down and keep the work going.
In the upcoming budget, what we're planning on is about a $6 million spend across our capital projects, $3 million of that in roads.
Last year, Council's biggest undertaking was the reconstruction of Oxide Street. The $1 million project took 12 weeks to complete.
It needed to be dug out, the base reaffirmed and firmed up and clay and materials brought in to firm that base up, and then of course a nice a hot mix reseal across the top.
Mr Ronkin says the start of 2020 has been positive with the long-awaited sealing of Brown Street. The patch of road is a hot spot not just for locals but also tourists.
In terms of that link from Silverton to the sculptures, so it was a road that created a lot of dust and a lot of problem for the residents along there, so it was fantastic that Council was able to get that work done.
Council says it's currently finalising its draft budgets for the new year. With more roadworks in development, Mr Ronkin says there's plans to also upgrade the city's footpaths with a focus around schools and the hospital.
Lots of fantastic work that will be going on, and ratepayers will be able to see their money, being put to good use.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Pirie police attended a disturbance on 8th Street where they arrested a woman carrying an offensive weapon. 3 patrol cars were called to the scene around 1:30 this afternoon. The suspect was arrested by police. Investigations into the incident will continue. The Desert Fringe is making its way back to Port Augusta next month for its 13th year. The barracks will be filled with music, dancing and comedy acts throughout the 3-day event.
Fringe fans, get ready. The Desert Fringe is almost here.
It's one of our highlights that comes to Port Augusta and we look forward to it every year.
For over a decade, it has brought the arts to life in the region, returning to Port Augusta.
Given that we have hot weather here, Port Augusta seemed to come out and still embrace what Fringe has to bring to this town. We love it.
Organisers say they're hoping for a large turnout.
So we want to, see the crowd come in. We've got some special performances from local people.
This year we'll see many new acts take the stage.
We've got the Sana dance and rap group that's coming, and they'll be doing a performance on the Friday night at the Institute. And so for young people, that'll be a good show to attend.
A headline event will see Jessie Lloyd perform mission songs as well as the Desert Fringe Club. The event will cater for all ages and interests.
It's a space where families could come and just to sit, enjoy each other's company, to listen to music, to look at the performances, to have a laugh, to have a dance.
The event will run from 6 p.m. beginning February 21. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Port Augusta's next sports stars get a lesson in on-field behaviour. And we meet the Eyre Peninsula volunteers, helping transport those in need around the region. The Sammy D Foundation have hosted a workshop in Port Augusta last night for young sporting kids and their parents. Their Monkey See, Monkey Do program focused on sideline behaviour at sporting events.
An emotional talk, hoping to encourage parents to be more mindful of their actions on the sideline. The Sammy D Foundation hosted a program in Port Augusta aiming to help kids continue enjoying sport.
We want young kids to be playing sport for as long as they can. 70% of kids give up sport before they're 13, and most of them say it's because of their parents' behaviour.
The statistics taking a toll on some.
In my position as a coach, I never want to see kids upset or feeling bad about their sporting abilities and making them drop out of sport. That's just so heartbreaking.
The talk highlighting the ways parents can help their kids stay involved.
Be more positive to our kids out in the sporting arena, to love your kids, let them just be kids and play for fun.
The children having their own talk about violence and how to handle it on the field.
Not everything's about violence. You need to be more respectful and think before you do.
Not everything's about fighting. You can solve it in different ways.
Neil says knowledge is critical, with kids continually influenced by their parents' actions.
We need parents to be the role models for their young children as they're growing up. We want them to be their young children's heroes.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Police are reminding locals to lock their vehicles and keep valuables out of sight after a car was rummaged through in Wailanori last Saturday. CCTV footage caught two suspects opening the door to an unlocked car at the Quest Apartments on Moran Street just after 1:30 in the morning. Nothing was stolen and no damage was caused to the car. Police are asking anyone with information on the incident to contact Crime Stoppers. Two Red Cross volunteers have dedicated more than 10 years to driving patients to the Whyalla Hospital from across the region. The transport service allows patients to receive specific medical treatment.
Two Port Lincoln heroes doing their part to help those in need. On call twice a week, they spend their whole day driving sick patients.
Red Cross offer a transport service across South Australia. It's funded under the Commonwealth Home Support Programs.
The transport services are available across all regional offices for those aged 65 or over.
It's all about getting elderly people out into the community and taking some of the burden off their families as well, and making sure that they can get out into community, get to their medical appointments without having to go to Adelaide all the time.
For Neil Russell and Bob Pycroft, it's the love of helping others which drives their passion.
Mainly just the pleasure of doing something for other people, and that's my enjoyment.
Oh, it's good. I like helping people, and one of these days somebody's going to help me.
After making the 3-hour journey to Whyalla, the volunteers could wait anywhere up to 5 hours for their clients to call. ready to drive them safely home.
Got some nice Red Cross cars, so you'll see them along the highway.
You feel sorry for some of them or what they've got to go through to go this far, because if you're really sore or crippled and you've got to travel 3 hours by road to here, and you get here, you don't feel like doing anything.
And they need more volunteers.
They were short of drivers in Port Lincoln, so I thought, well, I'll do it again for another couple of years while I'm able.
Just one thing that they don't have to worry about, because we know it can be a stressful time for families.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Our fishing experts will have their tips for the weekend. And Britt will have the weekend weather forecast. Hello again. The Broken Hill Netball Association has overhauled its upcoming competition just weeks before it starts. Previously a 2-season per year competition, there'll now just be one in 2020. Patrick Ranke has the details.
A big change is happening down here at the O'Neill Sports Complex. Broken Hill Netball is seeing a shake-up. The local association has decided in 2020 to play one extended season. In past years, the sport has ran 2 12-week competitions in spring and winter. That's now a thing of the past. Starting in late February, the city's netballers will take part in a 26-round season with 3 weeks of finals with a mid-November grand final. It won't be non-stop netball though. There will be a mid-season break as well as time off for school holidays. In total, 9 weeks. The association says the changes will be a positive, leaving room to expand certain grades to welcome more teams and more variety to fixtures. Off the court, it's less work at the administration level in terms of preparing for one season rather than 2. Team registration is on February 9, the association encouraging players to get a team together. More details about the upcoming season are on the Broken Hill Netball Facebook page.
Time now for a look at what fish are biting in the Spencer Gulf this weekend. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Nice calm days, tip is get out there early. Try for crabs on the high tides. Leave the nets in a little bit longer on the first pull, then they should start coming in. A lot of trumpeters around, hammering sort of any scale fish you're trying to catch at the moment. There's a few silver whiting around. Try up in the shallows around the Flinders Channel as always this time of year, and also the high tides of the morning up along the shacks. Lots and lots of salmon around up around Port Patterson down to Chinaman's Creek. Also lots of little small kingfish getting really nice eating size. Basically all the way from the train bridge right down around Port Patterson, Chinaman's Creek and also the old powerhouse site. That's all we have from the Jewel North.
Welcome another week around the Gulf fishing tips from Port Pirie. This warm weather is going to be some really good news for us. It's going to bring. We've got yellowfin whiting that we seem to be having a little bit of touch and go with them at this moment. They're not really coming on fire, but these few days that we're going to receive of 40 degrees will certainly bring them in. So I was going to say the winds are going to be pretty high Sunday, so Saturday's your best window. Try around the creek areas, Tillawi Beach, Barrows Beach. You should catch yourself a feed. Blue swimmer crabs have been doing quite well. I think the biggest sizes we're seeing around the moment is Chinaman. So that's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips here in Port Lincoln. Well, locally there's been a few whiting caught in Proper Bay, along with a few crabs. The crabs aren't thick yet, but there is a feed if you're willing to work your pots. There's been a few snook caught over around Boston Island, and best reports of whiting have been from down at Thistle Island. There's been a few kingfish within the marina. Moving over to Coffin Bay, there's been a lot of boats fishing around the Farm Beach, Gallipoli area. There have been some whiting, but best results have been to move around to find the fish. There's been quite a few tuna caught from Sir Isaac's all the way through to Rocky and Greenlee Island. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
And time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, John, and good evening. It's been a very hot and mostly sunny day about the region. Port Augusta recording a top temp of 45 degrees today. Whyalla and Port Pirie 43, Broken Hill 42, Port Lincoln 36. From the satellite, mostly clear skies today under a ridge of high pressure, with a low pressure trough heading our way, bringing showers and possible storms tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we'll get to the storms in a moment, but firstly we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southerly winds tending southwesterly at 15 to 20 knots with seas around 1 metre, and we'll see sunrise around 6:38 a.m. It's looking to be a little cooler than today, but still quite hot with possible thunderstorms forecast for most areas. Broken Hill the exception, dry and dusty tomorrow with a top of 41. Elsewhere, showers expected with heavy falls likely in the afternoon and evening. Port Augusta, a top of 40 degrees tomorrow. Port Pirie 39, Corn 38, Whyalla, Woodna and Clare all 37, Cleve and Kadina 36, Coffin Bay 32, Port Lincoln 30. To the weekend with wet conditions on Saturday at Port Lincoln, cloudy on Sunday. Cleve and Woodna both expecting showers with possible storms to kick off the weekend. Mostly cloudy conditions forecast for Sunday. Whyalla, Port Augusta and Kadina all with possible thunderstorms on Saturday. Showers through the day, easing in the evening. Sunday, mostly sunny. More showers with possible storms at Port Pirie and Clare on Saturday, clearing late in the evening. Sunday, fine and partly cloudy. And finally to Broken Hill, where it's looking to remain dry and dusty on Saturday, ahead of a mostly sunny day on Sunday. And before I go, with all of this wet weather on the way, there is an initial flood watch in place for several parts of South Australia, including the Eyre and Yorke Peninsulas. You can keep up to date with all weather warnings on the Bureau of Meteorology website. John?
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Tomorrow night, join us at 6:30 p.m. instead of 7 on 7/2, just before the Big Bash finals. I'm John Hunt, thanks for your company. On behalf of the team, it's good night.